Wagwan. Good morning, good night, welcome back. And if you're listening for the first time, I'm your host, Melanie Byfield, welcoming you to episode 26 of The Real Situation, where we give you a taste of Jamaican politics. Let me first start by saying get well soon to TV host Winford Williams. He was in a serious car accident a couple of weeks ago. Glad you're okay, brethren, and wishing you a speedy recovery. I'd like to send condolences to the family of Don Waby, former Grace Kennedy CEO and Senator. And I'd like to say a massive big up to Kwame McPherson, who was the featured writer at the St. Mary Literary Festival on July 5. A little bit about Kwame. Kwame was the 2023 winner of the Commonwealth Short Story Prize, and he's an Amazon bestseller for his book, The Heart of a Black Man, inspiring stories of triumph and resilience. Happy Emancipation Day. A very important day to people from the Caribbean. It's a celebration of our ancestors who were freed from slavery. Of course, we couldn't mention this day without mentioning Sam Sharpe, national hero of Jamaica, whose Christmas Day rebellion was instrumental in the abolition of slavery. Sam Sharpe's plan was to put an end to slavery by having a non-violent strike on December 28, where slaves would refuse to work until wages had been negotiated. The plan was accepted and supported, but on December 27, some slaves set fire to buildings on the Kensington estate in St. James, which sparked outbreaks of violence on other plantations. In retaliation, the then government called out armed forces who brutally put down the insurrections on all the estates, killing over 500 slaves. Sam Sharpe was later tried and hanged for his role in instigating the revolt. Despite the number of lives lost, though, the impact of the Christmas Rebellion, that's also known as the Baptist War, was tremendous. There was a destruction of property that cost the British government in the region of £500,000 and forced them to address the widespread anti-slavery sentiments in Jamaica. I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery. Those are the words of Sam Sharpe. We must never forget the sacrifices made for us by the likes of Sam Sharpe, Paul Bogle, Tacky, and millions of other Africans who gave their lives so that we could be free. For his contribution to the anti-slavery movement, Sam Sharpe is a national hero of Jamaica. He was given the nation's highest honour, the Order of National Hero, in 1975. There's a monument dedicated to Sam Sharpe in Sam Sharpe Square in Mobay. His face is on the $50 bill, and the Teachers College in Mobay is named after Sam Sharpe too. So, as you well know, this podcast is about Jamaica's journey to becoming a republic, right? In December 2024, a bill was laid in Parliament with proposals to amend the Jamaican Constitution, and it features the national emblems that are to be enshrined in it. We're going to talk about, national items, because it's important that, our national emblems honour the struggle of slavery and embrace our culture and not maintain colonial relics. There's an article I'd like to share a little bit with you about. It was in the Gleaner. It's called Time to Rethink Jamaica's National Dish. So basically this article talks about how Jamaica's national dish, ackee and saltfish, the ackee Tacky is a fruit that's native to West Africa, brought to Jamaica in the 1700s during the transatlantic slave trade. But saltfish, which is also known as codfish, is a cold water fish, right? It's over the years it had been salted. That's how it had been preserved. So this was before there was refrigeration, right? But this cold water fish is found primarily in frigid waters in Norway, Iceland, Canada, not in the Caribbean Sea. And the authors saying it's time to reconsider Jamaica's national dish. And here's why. So saltfish is imported, right? So despite Jamaica being an island surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, the author's saying, why should our national dish rely on fish from across the Atlantic when our waters have local species like snapper and parrot? So the Caribbean imports 53 million pounds of saltfish annually, and Jamaica is the second highest consumer. Something like 80% of that fish comes from Norway. So what is saltfish to Jamaica? It's a byproduct of colonial exploitation and the slave trade. And the author's saying, we are no longer bound by these historical chains. It's time our culinary identity reflects our independence, our ecosystem, and our present values. The article also discusses the public health concern, right? Saltfish is heavily salted to preserve it, so it contributes to a high intake of sodium. And sodium in excess is a known contributor to high blood pressure, right? Which affects a significant proportion of the Jamaican population, and also increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. The article goes on to say, as a people, we should prioritise eating what we grow and catch locally. Choosing Caribbean fish over imported cod means supporting local fishermen, preserving our marine environment, and protecting our health. We honour our roots by embracing progress. So let's start by updating our national dish. What do you think about that? I'd be interested, to know. Aki's already the national fruit, so minago bar if it gets replaced as the national dish. But do you think it should be prepared with another fish? Do you think that it should be another fish that's native to Jamaica? Do you think the national dish should be replaced altogether? Maybe it should be, maybe scabeach fish, jerk chicken, rice and peas and chicken, curry goat, oxtail. Let me know what you think. So continuing with this discussion we're having about national items, right? Trinidad and Tobago recently changed their coat of arms, and what they did was they removed the images of Columbus's 3 ships and replaced it with a steel pan and 2 pan stick. And the steel pan, as it happens, is Trinidad and Tobago's national instrument. That came into effect on February 25 this year. So then let's talk about the Jamaican coat of arms. The motto is out of many, one people, that is based on the population's multiracial roots. But in 1962, what was so multicultural about Jamaica? I mean, out of many what? Dead Africans one country was exploiting to enrich another? In 1518, that's when the Spanish had killed off most of the Arawak Indians, and Africans were first brought to Jamaica to serve the Spanish, and then in the 1600s were enslaved by the British. The first Indian indentured servants arrived in 1845, followed by the Chinese in 1854. By that time, Africans had been enslaved in Jamaica for more than 300 years, and millions of Africans had died. Today, Jamaica's around 96% black, people of African origin. So what part of that is out of many? And where's the tribute to that sacrifice? Or even Jamaican culture itself in the coat of arms? And why hasn't that change been proposed in the constitutional reform? Is the constitution going to be Jamaicanized by retaining a coat of arms with the royal helmet of the British monarchy? An Arawak man and woman, and not an African in sight? As I said earlier, it's important that our national emblems honour the struggle of slavery and embrace Fiwi culture, not maintain colonial relics. Speaking of defending our culture, history and heritage, there's a rum battle going on right now concerning the geographical indicator designation for national rum. For Jamaican rum. National Rums of Jamaica is appealing a ruling that said rum made on the island but aged outside of Jamaica can no longer be called Jamaican rum. Spirits Pool Association, they represent most of Jamaica's rum distilleries. They're arguing that the designation needs to be kept because rum is a premium product, right? And it protects Jamaican rum against competitors. Who else uses this GI designation? France uses it with champagne, and Scotland uses it with Scotch whisky. Scotch whisky is aged exclusively in Scotland, and to be officially classified as Scotch whisky, it must be produced in Scotland. So then it begs the question, why would you age Jamaican rum outside Jamaica and still call it Jamaican rum? What can go so? Moving on to an article I read by Leo Gilling. He's a diaspora strategist, and the article was about the significance of Emancipation and Independence Day. The article, starts out by saying that in 1893 is when Emancipation Day was first established as a public holiday in Jamaica. It was actually discontinued, but then reinstated after a 6-year campaign by Rex Nettleford and others. But there was a proposal recently to remove it. And what Mr. Gilling is saying is that, we have to safeguard and honour our national heritage because it's vital. It is vital to our growth. He goes on to say, Marcus Garvey emphasised the importance of understanding our roots to move forward. Emancipation and independence are two pivotal holidays that symbolise the start of our journey towards freedom. We must not allow our heritage to be forgotten. So basically he's, quite against keeping the two holidays on the one day as was recently being proposed. And rightly so. Two very important holidays that, absolutely need to be observed separately. I'm actually going to wrap up with a poem, part of a poem by Ras Pada Aishan about Sam Sharpe. Samuel Sharpe sent a serious shock to slavery and the slaver. Make the system shook, make it shake, make it sever. Samuel Sharpe say, before I be a slave any longer, I rather be a martyr on the gallows over yonder. If you're not registered to vote by now, you're not going to be deciding who the next Prime Minister of Jamaica is going to be. The election is right around the corner. I hope you're continuing to enjoy the journey, finding it educational and useful and thing. The journey continues. The bill not dead. I mean, it get you know what, but it not dead. So the journey continues, and I'm still confident that this journey is going to end with Jamaica becoming a republic, a truly and fully independent and sovereign Jamaica, land we love. You can find this podcast on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Podcast Index, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Apple, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you want to reason about anything, or if you can't find any of the material I was talking about, you can email me on atasteofja@outlook.com. Happy Emancipation Day. And until the next time, thank you for supporting this podcast. Please subscribe, like, follow, and share it with friends and family. And again, I thank you for taking the time to listen. One love. Yes, the word is love.